All right, 4 key things to do after you lift weights. We will try to keep this short because I'm not that exciting and you got better things to do than listen to me yammer, like train. Be sure to stick around for number 4 because it's the most important. Number 1, if you weren't already doing this during your training session, write out in your training log your next session. Write out your warm-ups, write out your work sets, write out what went well and what didn't go well this past session, and write out what cues you need to be using for your next training session. Number 2, be a good steward of your equipment. Now I know this is not particularly exciting, don't worry, it'll get better as we go along here, but seriously, don't be a jerk. Take good care of your equipment, whether you are training at a commercial gym or your home gym, take care of your equipment. So if you're a commercial gym, that means things like putting your weights away, putting your bench away, wiping down your bench, brush the chalk off your bar, especially if you got your home gym, your own equipment, right? You wanna make sure that your equipment lasts a long time, so brush the chalk off of your bar. Chalk is very useful, holds moisture, it will also hold moisture on your bar, so take care of your equipment. Especially important, don't leave your weights on the bar, and especially if a bar is sitting in the hooks, do not leave weight on the bar, whether you're at a commercial gym or your home gym. Weight gets left out like that for a long period of time, overnight or something like that. It doesn't even have to be a long period of time. That will bend your bar. Put your weights away. People who don't put their equipment away, I got words that are not fit for a family-friendly YouTube channel, so take care of your equipment. Number 3, eat something. Of course, drink something too, but specifically eat something. And no, I'm not talking about an anabolic window, all right? In fact, let's back up here a little bit. Let's eliminate some words from our vocabulary here, all right? If you're gonna use the word core, you need to be a trainer at a gym, you need to be wearing a too tight polo shirt, and you need to be wearing a clipboard. Otherwise, don't use the word core. If you're gonna use anything like feeding window or something like that, then you better be, I don't know, livestock or something like that. And if you're gonna use the word anabolic window, then you need to be, first of all, back in the 90s, you need to be a bro. You need to be wearing a cutoff shirt, cut way down to the hips, and you need to be the type of guy who's mixing up his protein shake like 3 seconds after his last, set of bench or whatever it is, all right? So don't worry about an anabolic window, the timing of when you get this food in. And specifically, we're talking about, getting in some protein, right? So if you're somebody who's trying to get in, let's say you're a gal and you're trying to get in 150 grams of protein a day, ballparking it here, and you're a guy and you're trying to get in 200 grams of protein a day, spacing it out throughout the day is a real useful thing. We don't care when we get it in. That's not really the big picture deal. The bigger picture deal is simply getting in the protein. So if you're worried about the timing of your protein, the people who aren't getting their protein in throughout the whole day and they're just worried about the timing of it, man, that's like walking outside and you're really concerned about how your shoes look, but meanwhile you haven't showered in 3 weeks and your shirt's on backwards and you forgot to wear pants, all right? You're missing the bigger picture here. So why am I saying then eat something after training? Because it's a convenient time. If you're trying to get in 150 grams of protein or 200 grams of protein and you're having a difficult time doing it, then you want to space it throughout the day. Well, you couldn't do it while you're training. That's generally not a very good idea to try to eat something while you're training. So do it after you're training within a reasonable amount of time. Don't worry about like some half-hour or 1-hour anabolic window. Just get in some food, all right? Protein shakes are great, but they're just great because they're convenient. So whey protein, very useful, but it's just useful because it's convenient, right? Right after training, even within a half an hour or an hour, I might not feel like having a meal, but I can have a protein shake, and that takes care of some of my protein requirement for the day, all right? Protein is not the end-all, be-all, but most of you, if you're coming up short on something, it's probably protein. So eat something, base it around protein, somewhere in the 30 gram to 50 gram window, and if you have a couple meals or snacks like that throughout the day, you're gonna hit your protein goals. And finally, number 4, and this is the most important one, plan the day and the time of your next training session. Now, ideally, this should have been decided at the beginning of the week. Hopefully, it just doesn't change for you much in general. The people for whom they have a very consistent training schedule, they just tend to be more consistent in the long run as compared to the people who have to move things all around. But at the very least, before you walk out the door, before you walk back into your house from your garage gym or wherever you're training, plan the next day and time of your training session. If you walk out the door and you're like, I'll train on, Wednesday or Thursday sometime, very often you simply won't. Remember this, if you can train whenever, you will probably train never.
You will probably train never. You will probably train never.
So plan the next day and time of your training session. Why do I say this is the most important? Because consistency trumps everything. It trumps programming, it trumps technique. Those are wildly important, but if you have the greatest technique and the greatest programming in the whole world and you're not using it, in other words, you're not consistent, it does you no good. So plan out your next session before you walk out the door. As always, we hope this helps you get stronger and live better.